Welcome to Edging. I am Brooke.
I'm Bridgett.
And today we are talking about New Moon. And we're talking about Wolf House versus Prayer House.
Hell yeah.
But before we get into the book, Bridgett, have you ever heard of the 1994 comedy drama, I believe Disney film, My Father the Hero?
No.
It's Katherine Heigl and Gerard Depardieu.
I heard one of those people.
I heard about this movie recently.
Okay.
And, you know, I think Wish Upon a Star was a Katherine Heigl Disney joint where it was like a Freaky Friday where she switches lives with her sister.
Ah.
So I'm used to Katherine Heigl's work in this space. This is insane. I think I might have been scrolling on Instagram. I don't know how I saw this. I think it's crazy that I have seen it and you haven't. So I'm really excited now to bring it to your attention. This is a movie that is somehow a remake of a French film in which a girl is on vacation with her father, in this case played by Gerard Depardieu, and she sees like a cute guy on vacation and she's like, I want to impress him. So I'm going to lie about my age. And so he's like, how old are you? And she's like, I'm 16, but I'm here with my boyfriend. She pretends to be dating her dad. This is a real movie.
It's a Disney movie?
Okay, let me make sure I don't slander Disney because I know they're going to come for me. Maybe it isn't Disney, but it is a kid's movie, it looks like. It was just like a regular movie that I don't think anybody thought was weird. It came out.
I'm not too surprised. We did have a lot of weird stuff back then.
I mean, it did come out along with Ace Ventura, Pet Detective, Miss Doubtfire, and Philadelphia. It was 1994. But
the year we were born.
Yeah. I mean, I will say nobody it wasn't a good movie.
Yeah.
But I don't feel like people were like, I don't think they didn't like it for the right reason.
Yeah.
I learned about this movie recently and I was watching clips of it and it's really Katherine Heigl and it's really just supposed to be a comedy where she pretends to date her dad. And then like the joke is that he's kind of like a buffoon, you know, like he's not good at being suave or whatever. And so, like, he obviously is not into this plan once he finds out, but he's, like, trying to be a good dad and, like, play along so that she can, like, impress this guy. But then the whole resort is, like, that's fucking creepy. So there's, like, this scene where he, like, tries to help a little girl with something. Her dad comes over and is like, stay away from her because they all think he's a pedophile.
Yeah.
And that's the comedy part.
They really had a lot of it just in our faces at the time.
Nobody was being subtle. It's so important to remember in this world that we grew up in that, like, we were saying it. Like, I will make fun of this because it's crazy, but at the same time, I guess I can see how they thought it was fine.
That's the thing, like you saying, I can see how they thought it was fine, that I think is a disconnect with some younger people.
Yeah.
And this isn't me like hating on younger people. I'm glad that you all were not part of a world where it was still normalized. Pedophilia was still normalized, but like it was so normalized when we were kids.
It is crazy to me. I am obsessed. If we have any Gen Z or, God forbid, Gen Alpha listeners, what I am so obsessed with about younger people today is how critical you are of age gaps.
Yes.
In relationships. And I love that. You guys are so right.
Yeah.
And it's something that we just were not raised to be critical of.
Yeah.
And we really had to like learn that and encounter it, I think, in our real lives, because a lot of us, I mean, our parents had massive age gaps.
Yeah, my parents had an age gap, which my parents met when my mom was in her 30s.
Which is totally different.
Yeah, after your brain's developed, whatever.
It's none of my business.
Yeah.
Before then, it's explicitly, I think, everyone's business to try and, like, protect younger people.
Yeah, but we were definitely at a time where it's like, the phrase was, age ain't nothing but a number.
Uh-huh.
And that was very much pushed on. Like, I see so much, and I think so much about how, like, what's his name? Lex Wessner. Lex Wessner was he owned everything that controlled the taste making of our youth. And how much youth was made. Like, I remember, like, thongs targeted for, like, girls.
Oh, yeah.
And, like, I would wear them. I mean, and it's one of those things, like, I also grew up with a mom who got pregnant the first time at 13. So
Yeah.
it's like, it was tough for her, too, to know this was wrong, because we were and we didn't have internet and, like, all of this stuff.
Yeah.
There was a much bigger digital divide until, like, a few years ago in this country, to where, like, it had been so normalized. I remember, like, when I was dating somebody older when I was in high school, most people were chill with it. And, like, the couple of, like, friends' dads who were like, no, that's weird.
Yeah.
Like, I would never let my daughter do that. And my dad being like, I don't want you to do this.
Yeah.
I remember being like, you all are being, like, so ridiculous.
Well, I feel like you're calling out what the really important truth is, which is that as a young person and as a person who's, I think, like, especially being socialized as a girl and growing into someone who society is going to treat as a woman, there is a very important line that you need to walk where the way that you talk about, you know, the way that someone might be preyed on or might be, you know, really unfairly desired by very nefarious individuals is separate from your own autonomy and your own ability to be interested in, like, sex or sexual relationships as you grow up. You, as a young person, have every right to, like, develop that and experience that. The problem is you think you're grown and you're not. Like, and so you need grown-ups there.
I was an adult. And and I also had a lot of adult responsibilities too, which is difficult with that. But also, like, on the flip side, because I know we talk about the experience of being someone socialized as a girl growing into what society's going to view as a woman. On the flip side of that, with boys, like little boys, we were kids when the Mary Kay Letourneau stuff was happening. And Mary Kay Letourneau was this teacher who was impregnated by, I hate saying by because it seems like he had a situation.
She had a sexual relationship with a student.
A 12-year-old boy.
Like,
and I remember everybody would talk about that and be like, oh, his name was Billy.
Yeah.
And be like, oh, legendary. And, like, straight
so
up
toxic.
Like, and even, like, in recent years, I remember commentators being like, well, yeah, it's okay if an adult woman is with a boy because women aren't smart enough to be. And I'm like, no, these bitches, I would, if I was one of his relatives, I would have beat the shit out of her.
It's crazy, too. I remember that case so viscerally. I think just because he's so young.
And then she got pregnant again by him when she was out on bond.
And
they ended up getting married.
That's
once he
so
turned 18
devastating.
And she got out of prison.
It is so devastating to think about anybody who has this kind of, like, power or relationship over young people to be exercising that in such a toxic way. I think and I remember feeling that way. And then the first time I ever saw, like, popular media address it was this incredible episode of the George Lopez show. Did you ever watch?
I love the George Lopez show.
There is an episode of the George Lopez show where a, like, registered sex offender moves into their neighborhood and everyone is, like, freaking out about it. They know it's happening, like, and then the sex offender has to come around and, like, do the thing where they introduce themselves, like, hello, I'm a registered sex offender. And it's this beautiful woman. She's this beautiful woman, had a relationship with a student, and the episode's not about her being interested in any of the kids. She's just a character in the episode. And the episode is about the way that George Lopez's sons in the show feel about this and the kind of rhetoric of like, oh, lucky guy, lucky kid, whoever that was. And George, as the character in the show, doesn't really get it. And then he finds his youngest son at her house trying to like with his shirt off, trying to get her to have sex with him. And it like clicks in his head. And he's like, it is the same. It is the same thing. And I have really like made a mistake here, and I need to have this conversation with my son and with my sons, just like I have it with my daughter.
Yeah.
And it kind of just like, it was such a good episode. I mean, I don't know if it's like a good episode of TV, but the message of that, as I remember it, really stuck out to me because I'd never seen that. Everyone was just so casual about this thing that felt like a really weird, I don't even know if it is a double standard. It was just such a weird energy where we were separating children by gender as though they were not all victims of adult predators.
Yeah.
And so that's like our kind of like lighthearted intro to today's episode.
Chill. We're talking about books.
Yeah, we are talking about books, and this book is going to be kind of chill, kind of not chill. We're talking about New Moon. We're talking about Twilight Saga Book 2. We also did get our first voicemail.
I forgot. We were going to do this episode earlier, and I got very, very sick. So sorry about that, y'all.
Yeah.
But
we had to delay, and we got your voicemail, and we are going to play it, but I think we should save it for our Frankenstein episode.
Yes.
So we will play our very first voicemail on our, I think, last installment of Frankenstein.
Yes, our next episode will be the final volume, the final part of the novel Frankenstein.
Which I'm so excited about, and it's been so cool to do these books in relationship with each other. And today we are talking about Twilight. I am going to try and speed through as much of New Moon plot-wise as I can, because I know that when we talked about the first book, Twilight, we did miss some plot points. And I don't want you to have to read these books. I really want to protect you from that if I can. So there are some key points I want us to focus on. And before we get into the story, do want us to take a minute to talk about where we're going, which is Wolf House. So first of all, for any of our listeners who don't know what we're talking about and therefore do not understand why it matters, Bridgett, what is Wolf House versus Prayer House?
So we were discussing this, me and Brooke, with our friend / co-collaborator, buddy Ian.
Y'all probably know Ian, but if you haven't listened to the early episodes, you might not.
Yeah, it's weird to think you don't know Ian.
Yeah.
But we have a podcast, a horror fiction podcast called 13. We've also had one called Olive Hill, where we have these fiction podcasts with our buddy Ian. And he originally was on Edging with us, and he would talk about books, but then we decided that men should not have podcasts.
He keeps asking us if he can come back, and I guess we'll let him come back. Well, he's got some books for us, and we have a book that we might have to tell him about.
Yeah. And also, we do, we can have men on this show. That's totally fine. I'm just joking. But we were discussing it because I said, if you're from Kentucky, you either grew up in Wolf House or Prayer House. Mm-hmm. And Ian definitely grew up very Prayer House. Ian grew up in an evangelical Christian environment. He grew up very suburban.
Yeah.
And the decor is going to be suburban. The way you handle things is suburban. Mm-hmm. The opposite of that is Wolf House.
Yeah.
Which specifically for our neck of the woods, you have a wolf blanket.
Definitely.
Or some sort of wolf picture or wolf figurine.
It could be all of these things. Really what this comes down to is it's definitely a vibe, and there's definitely an energy to it, but it really is about iconography. What is the iconography that we can expect to see in your space? Because it's not about religion. Like, Wolf House often is also like Christian house.
The thing with me with Wolf House, though, is it's like Christian, but like you're not going to see them in a church.
And you're not going to probably see a cross. Like, at least in we have talked a lot about like what Wolf House and Prayer House means to us, but we would love to hear what y'all think maybe your version of Wolf House or Prayer House is, how you grew up or what you think it looks like. Because I'm willing to bet that this is going to resonate with a lot of people.
It definitely, we've talked to people about it before, and it is cross-cultural. One of our friends was talking about, I think they're from Arizona, maybe? But in like their Hispanic house, it was a tiger blanket.
Yes.
And it's so funny because after we first discussed Wolf House, Prayer House, not even on this show, before the show even began, we were discussing this. My dad, one Christmas, it was about 4 or 5 Christmases ago, got me a line blanket.
Hell yeah.
With like this big poem about like him being my lion.
That's so cool.
And it was adorable. And I was like so happy about this. And my husband, who grew up very much Prayer House, was like, cool. And I was like in near tears.
Prayer House is definitely like a live, laugh, love type house.
Yes.
The kind of,
what is that style called? Minimalist.
Yeah.
You can get into in a lot of beach themed bathrooms.
Yes, beach. If there are shells, and I'm not saying that. It's kind of a spectrum, too. Like, you could have definitely, because sometimes maybe you come from a house where one of your parents is Prayer House and one of your parents is Wolf House. And so, like, you're like a little sort of godly cub. There's a lot of options. They're both tacky, also, I think is important to say.
Yeah.
This isn't about taste.
The Wolf House is going to be called tacky more.
For sure.
Because I think about it, like my mom put shells in her bathroom.
Mm-hmm.
She got so excited one time and she redid her whole bathroom, but she didn't do white.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people like white in Prayer House, white designs, and she had like everything was brown and tan and DIY.
Lots of leather in Wolf House, too. I feel like being really into leather, being like in our era, too into Native American iconography, like
Definitely.
Need to take a step back from that.
That's where the wolf comes into, as even you'll see with the Twilight series.
This is where we're getting.
Yeah.
And there's definitely a subset of like specifically white America that is very into like, I think from a perspective, like respectfully into Native American culture, but then it's like weird when you're not interrogating the things you might be buying or like whether or not it's cool for you to have a dream catcher you got from Walmart. Why does Walmart have those? Like whatever it is. But the 3 wolves howling at the moon, perhaps you had a canvas of, or like if a painting wasn't a painting but was like velvet, that's very Wolf House, I feel like. If something is like is a big art piece, but it's not like behind glass or a painting. Yeah. Like a tapestry is a very Wolf House thing to have.
Yeah, a tapestry, a blanket is a curtain.
Yeah, blankets is curtains.
That's very big. But definitely there's no minimalism. Even if you don't have a ton in Wolf House, you're still rocking with stuff. You're still designing with stuff. Because that's I feel like minimalism is a very, like, a privileged take.
Yeah, it's kind of like we're getting into the clean girl aesthetic, right? And like the evolution of these things.
But also you can be poor and be Christian House.
Totally.
And you can be rich and be Wolf House.
You absolutely can.
Just fucking wait on me.
Yeah. I feel like the character of the nanny is definitely a Wolf House girly in a Christian house situation. Yeah. If that helps you kind of like understand what that might look like. Somebody who looks good in a space where everyone doesn't is sort of how I would describe being a Wolf House girly in a Christian house situation. You got the best outfit on. But no, it's like, for me, it's the kind of minimalism where even if you don't have a lot of money, you're buying everything new, even if you maybe shouldn't. It's not like an eclectic style. You want all your dishes match, and you like that.
Yeah.
In Wolf House, I don't feel like it was ever like, I wish my dishes matched. It's like, oh, I love that, like, we have different ones.
My dishes that we used on the daily growing up were the Disney series with, like, Hercules.
Oh, dude.
And all of them on them. And we would use them so much, they're not microwavable safe.
That
it would bubble and break. So it was just these really warped plates that were purple and green and blue and pretty colors.
And the cups that were from Burger King or McDonald's, the Disney cups, that was huge. That would be a thing you would get. So every house is probably like a little bit different.
Did you all have the little yellow cups?
That sounds familiar.
Small little plastic yellow cups, and it would be what I would wash my mouth out with.
Yeah. We were big into, like, I feel like there's Walmart, there's an era of Walmart that really feels nostalgic to me. It's like getting a new outfit. I knew that was about to be No Boundaries. Like, I was going to get a new No Boundaries outfit, and all the dish sets from that era really looked the same too. Like, if we had a dish set, it was one and there were 4 plates that matched, and then we would have like a different dish set where 4 other plates matched. But it was very much like things would break, or you'd replace this, or you'd get this sort of thing. So it's this mishmash. There are a few items that I think everyone would kind of recognize from the era. So that's Wolf House versus Prayer House. And we bring this up because Jacob is definitely Wolf House, and Edward is definitely Prayer House.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk about, all the stuff in this book that sucks. The toxic relationships, the cultural appropriation, and the stereotypes. But if all we did was just like address every failing of New Moon, that would be the whole episode. And I'd still have probably a lot more to talk about. I think the text itself stands as evidence of its many transgressions. But I'm a lot more interested in talking to you all about where this book doesn't fail. And I think that where it actually is still really good is where it resonates with me. Because ultimately, I think this is a book about grief. And that is what I'm really excited to tell y'all about today. But first, we have an intro. Okay, Bridgett. So this is going to be depressing.
Yeah.
This is a book about grief. But I think it's also a book about how to go on when it feels like you have lost everything.
Yeah.
And we can think it's stupid that the grief in this book is framed around a romantic relationship, but I think it's going to be more fun if we take it seriously.
Yeah.
And especially because if you're a teenager and you've never been in love, or you've never cared about anything before, the end of a relationship can really feel like the end of everything.
I was going to say, like, losing my mom in high school to death, and then also, like, losing friends, not even just, like, romantic partners, but, like, romantic partners and friends to life in high school, both felt so fucking dramatic and awful.
Yeah.
I will say only one of them still affects me.
Right. And that's what I was going to ask.
That's in the long run. That's the difference. But like when you're a kid and you're just experiencing that loss, it is everything.
I mean, and that is the weird thing about grief, right? Is like in the moment, what impacts you when you don't have anything to like help yourself put it into context, it's all just awful.
Yeah.
And then as you get older, you can kind of tell yourself, I'm going to feel better about this in 3 months. Like I'm going to be okay. And then there are other things that are always going to be with you. And this is what I want you to remember as I tell you this story, that this is a teenager. This is real serious big feelings for this teenager. But also, this is a book about grief, but this is a series where Bella gets everything she wants. And Bella wants Edward. Like, that's definitely the point of the series. But I think it's in this book that she realizes there is something she wants even more. More than Bella wants Edward, Bella wants to be a vampire.
Yeah.
So this book covers a few different months. So I've kind of split the sections into little chunks of time. And we're going to talk about the story linearly, but the time is not going to be in even chunks because for a lot of the book, she's just like catatonically depressed. So part 1 is going to be September through January. The book spans 8 months. And I mean, hold tight, Spider Monkey, because we're about to speed run this first chunk.
Let's go.
Bella has a nightmare, seeing herself as an 80-year-old woman standing next to forever 17-year-old Edward Cullen. She wakes up, and today is her 18th birthday. She and Edward watch Romeo and Juliet. Edward says he's jealous of how easy it is for Romeo to kill himself. He reveals that he had planned to kill himself if Bella had died last spring. And Bella's like, let's explore that together. He kind of just goes on to basically be like, well, it's really hard to kill a vampire, but I would have gone to the Volturi. And Bella tries to make him to promise not to kill himself if anything happens to her. They have
Don't do this. It isn't you.
Yeah. They have this very revealing conversation that they both realize that, like, they're like, no, I would kill myself, but you can't kill yourself. Very dramatic teenager stuff. Also very toxic. We do not need to be perpetuating this. This is do not think that a relationship is a ride or die, live or die situation. But we're gonna have to talk about the Volturi. This is the exciting part of this. They're so fucking pussy cunt, and they're gonna be so important later. The Volturi is this coven of vampires in the city of Volterra in Italy, and they're like the rulers of vampires. It kind of like nobility. There aren't many vampire laws. 1, vampires love baseball.
Yep.
And 2, don't reveal the existence of vampires to humans. That's it. So all other laws are subsets of this second law. Anything that jeopardizes vampire secrecy, that is punishable by death, and there is no due process. So Edward was just like, well, I'd just go there and like fucking start a ruckus. And Bella's like, no, promise me you won't do that, blah, blah, blah. They try to help each other realize they have worth. We talk a lot about Bella's low self-esteem, but we don't spend enough time talking about Edward's. They're both a goddamn mess.
Because his is so fucking annoying because it's like, dude, you're 107.
Like, come on.
Grow the fuck up.
Like, actually. And honestly, I will say that the series is kind of about him doing that.
Yeah.
It's like he was stunted, and it's like, that's why the most weird thing in this series, when you read it, isn't how old he is, because he feels 17.
Yeah.
Like, for the most part. Other than like him being able to be more calm and measured with his emotions, he's like not really done a lot. He doesn't have this like amazing life experience. He's just kind of been sulking.
Yeah.
So Alice throws a birthday party for Bella at the Cullens, and Bella gets a paper cut. She's more gravely injured when Edward pushes her out of the way of a charging Jasper. So,
who fought in the Confederacy.
We cannot stress this enough. Confederate soldier Jasper. So, while everyone's trying to be like, this is a bummer, everyone else has to leave because they can't really deal with it. Edward is going to talk to Jasper, and Carlisle is stitching Bella up. Carlisle has no problems with blood. He's a doctor, so he's obviously has to be completely desensitized to human blood. So here's where we get into the prayer house of it all, because I'm not kidding. It's not just because Jacob's obviously Wolf House that Edward is prayer house. So as Carlisle is like stitching Bella up and pulling the broken crystal out of her arm, he just tells her about his life. His father was an Anglican pastor in the 1600s, like the witch, werewolf, and vampire hunting kind.
Ah.
And so he was turned while he was hunting a coven of vampires. And he's basically like, honestly, my dad was a fucking heretic, weirdo, crazy guy. But I was a lot better at hunting vampires, and I actually found some. So he's basically like, I believe in God. I believe in an afterlife, but I do not believe in the judgment and damnation of others. Not the way that like my father did. I don't ascribe to that. And Edward is like, yeah, I believe there's a God and a heaven. However, vampires are definitely damned. We are definitely going to hell. And that is the crux of why he won't turn Bella.
Yeah.
He feels like he would be damning her. Real prayer house shit. I've dated a lot of Catholic guys. This is so fucking typical. So Edward is obviously furious with himself because Bella got hurt, and he's like, I'm just dangerous for you. I can't be around you. And the next few days are really tense. And Bella is basically like, it was an accident. Like, it's no one's fault. I'm not mad at Jasper, because Jasper's the newest of them. Yeah. So he's the youngest vampire.
Yeah, because they're all from, I guess, fucking Anglican shit times, and he's from Civil War.
Which wasn't that long ago. So we have a few days of everything being weird, and then Edward is like, take a walk with me. Bridgett, what does it mean when a boy asks you to take a walk?
I'd rather you just kick me in my sternum.
Yeah, just shoot me with a gun.
Yeah, like, just kill me.
So obviously he takes her on this stupid breakup walk. And he's obviously very much just trying to do the thing where he's like, I'm no good for you, blah, blah, blah. She's obviously like, this is ridiculous. You can't just make this decision for both of us. But then he's just like, well, I don't want to go through the effort. Like, I don't want to be with you. Which is pretty obvious to you as the reader that he's just saying that so that she'll like believe him and he can leave her behind. I don't think it's at all, you as the reader, even though it's from Bella's perspective, are like, he's lying for sure.
Yeah.
But Bella, because her self-esteem is so low, is like, oh, I didn't know that would, yeah, that makes sense. Why would you ever love me? She doesn't verbalize all of this. She's just doing that like crazy girl internalization thing where she's like,
never love me. I'm from Phoenix.
Yeah, I'm from Phoenix. Like, honestly, she's in her head. She's just like, well, I did honestly think it was pretty weird that you liked me at all. So I guess this makes sense. Long time coming, whatever. And she just like ears ringing, tunes out to the rest. He leaves. She tries to follow him, gets herself lost in the woods by her own house. And just starts walking around, not trying to get out. She's like, whatever. She's just like immediately, life is over.
Yeah.
So she has to be searched and rescued. This bitch is so lost. She just wanders off to die. And it's one of the men from every time I get to the name Quillute? I think it's Quillute tribe. I always play it. I'm really bad at pronouncing things, and mostly it's that I'm scared. I think I know it, and then I look it up, and I listen to it, and I'm like, totally. And then I go to say it, and I'm like, I don't know. I think it's Quillute tribe. One of the guys from the tribe, Sam Yulee, is the one to find Bella. But here's where Edward really loses some fucking brownie points. When Bella gets back to her room, all of like the photos she's taken of and with Edward and like the CD he made her of the lullaby he wrote her, all of the shit that is hers from their relationship is gone. Like, it's been erased.
Oh, God.
Yeah, which is fucking crazy to do to someone. Quillute?
I think so.
We think it's Quillute tribe, but if we're wrong, tell us. So when I tell you the way that time passes in this book is weird, Edward leaves, and then October, November, and December happen.
Our blank pages?
Yep. So we just have October, November, December, and now it's January. 3 months spent basically catatonic. Bella like goes to school, buys groceries, makes dinner, does nothing else. I think we have all been this
I
depressed.
was going to say it's very reminiscent of the scene in Euphoria where Zendaya's character Rue is super depressed and just watching, because her character is younger than us, TV shows on her laptop.
Yeah.
But she just watches it and she won't get up to pee. So she ends up giving herself a UTI.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, I've been there.
It is like a very real state that people actually experience. The onset of it is like, it's weird because it's weird because like it becomes not weird is what I'll say. Reading it, I'm always sort of like, I don't know if I buy this. And then you do buy it and it's actually more interesting than you think. We'll get there. Stick with me. So she does nothing else but just kind of like go through the motions. And Charlie is just like, I'm sending you back to Jacksonville. Like, you need to go live with your mother. I can't help you. You're not doing okay. And Bella is so terrified by this idea of leaving Forks that it kind of like snaps her out of it. Because it's not like she really thinks Edward is going to come back, but it's that grief mindset where she's like, but this is the only place he's ever been to me.
Yeah.
This is like the only place he is, even though he's not here. So she wakes up screaming every night, and it's always the exact same nightmare where she's like wandering through the woods alone and she's looking for something that was never even there. Like, she can't even figure out what she's looking for. She makes plans with our Queen Jessica to appease Charlie. And it's through this interaction that we realize that she's basically just been like going to school and like sitting at the table, but not talking to anyone, like totally absorbed in this melancholy. But Jessica is like, yeah, I'll go with you. Okay. Because really, she does want to gossip. And while they're out, they like go see a movie and some guys try to hassle them, like regular piece of shit types. And Bella realizes that when she is in danger, she hears Edward's voice in her head. And so she's like, that's cool. So she just starts walking towards these guys.
Yeah.
And he's like, Bella. And she's like, oh my God, he hates this. She's so unfortunately relatable in this moment. However, even though she's like learned about this thing she can do, this like thrill-seeking thing, it's also snapped her out fully of the numbness. And she's like, it's like she's going through the grief all over again, which I think is also very real. But then she sees these motorcycles and she thinks, that's reckless and that's stupid. And she knows Charlie would never approve of her having a motorcycle. And both of these bikes are free. They don't run, but they're free. And that's fine because Bella remembers who fixed up her old truck. After this break, we are going to Wolf House. Okay, so part 2 is going to be January through March. Bella is really surprised to realize how genuinely happy she is to see Jacob Black. And she's not been happy or even like isn't interested or present for anything.
Yeah.
But she sees Jacob and he just like lights up her whole kind of life. He's like beyond game to fix these bikes up. And she's reminded also that he like definitely has a crush on her. And she's like, I don't feel the same way, but I love spending time with him.
Yeah.
This is the absolute best of Jacob. Every time it reminds me how much I love Jacob, like what a great character he is at first. He's so charming and he's so fun and easygoing. And immediately he and Bella fall into this easy routine. And they just hang out while he fixes up the bikes and they're like hiding it from their dads and it's really cool. And sometimes Bella will also like help him stay caught up in school because she feels bad that he's like falling behind and fixing up these bikes. And so they have this really like nice friendship and it's really cool. They share a secret and it's such a good part of the series because Jacob isn't just the only person she can stand to be around, right? Like she actively is so excited to spend time with him. And what I really like about it is it pulls us away from the Bella can't be happy without Edward narrative. And even though she's ostensibly like fixing up these bikes because she wants to be reckless, Jacob's also her only friend, really. Like, we see Bella form a strong relationship with Alice, but then Alice just leaves when Edward asks her to.
Yeah.
And Bella doesn't have anybody that's really just hers, like just her friend. And so it's a really nice dynamic. She meets some of Jacob's other friends, Quill and Embry, and she hears a lot about how the kids on the reservation are joining Sam Yuli's gang, which is how like Jacob and his friends describe it. And that's the guy who found her out in the woods. Mm-hmm. And Charlie is like, Sam's a great guy. He's a super good influence. He's doing a lot of youth work. Like, it's amazing. But from Jacob's perspective, he feels like they're always looking at him like he's next, like he's going to join them next. And when the guys start hanging out with Sam, they stop hanging out with the other kids. Like, it's like they're suddenly totally absorbed in whatever this thing is. Yeah. And it feels like a cult to Jacob. Bella's still having nightmares, but they kind of start to get better. They're not as hopeless. And finally, the bikes are done. And while Bella is on her way to meet Jacob, she sees Sam Yuli and like his gang or whatever cliff diving. And at first she like is about to drive off the road because she sees a bunch of kids jump off a cliff. And she's like, fuck. But Jacob is like, oh no, that's just cliff diving. Like, we do that. And she's like, you have to take me to do that, because she doesn't say this, obviously. She's like, I'm trying to like not kill myself, but like, you know, like feel the rush. And he's like, okay, sure. Let's just focus on the bikes for now. So he teaches her how to ride the motorcycle. And this whole scene's really funny. There's actually an afterward too, where I think Stephenie Meyer, I think her brother taught her how to ride a motorcycle for this so that she could like understand how it works, which is really cute to imagine. Immediately Bella Rex gets a cut on her head, but she fucking has a blast, and she does hear Edward just like she hoped she would. Kind of in the background of this, there have been all of these strange deaths in like around Forks, and everyone it thinks it's some kind of like a bear or big animal, and Charlie's having to deal with it. And he asked Bella not to go into the woods alone. He's like, you know, I'm fine with you and Jacob out in La Push. That's all cool. He loves that she's hanging out with Jacob, obviously, because she's like fucking doing anything. And also he likes Jacob. But just don't go out by yourself. So Bella and Jacob take a break from the bikes when she crashes and hurts herself, because Jacob is like, girl, we need to chill for a second. And she's like, okay, that's fine. And she asks him if he wants to help her find the meadow. She doesn't tell him what it is, but she's like, or who she went there with. She's like, I went to this place once and it was like really cool, and I'm just trying to find it again. And he's like, yeah, I'll help you find it. And they like come up with this grid system and like hiking to find this spot. And she's trying to find it because she's really trying to find any hint that what happened with Edward really happened.
Yeah.
And that might sound weird because you're like, well, nobody, like everybody remembers him. It's not like she's the only person who remembers Edward, but she already just feels so disconnected from a reality in which Edward could have loved her that she's really struggling to understand, you know, because he said all of these things to her and then left, which is really traumatic, without really explaining what was going on, without her really being able to understand it. So she's trying to do all of these things that will help her feel like she understands or feel like he's there again. She drives to their old house, but it's empty and it doesn't help, and it just feels kind of terrible. So in the meantime, she invites Jacob to go to the movies with some other friends from Forks, including my nemesis, Mike Newton. He's the only one who shows up. Everyone else gets sick or cancels. And so they both do that heinous thing that teenage boys do, where she's sitting in the middle of them and they both like set their hands out on the armrest, like waiting for her to hold them.
Oh God.
So she spends the whole movie with her hands in her lap, like not romantically interested in either of these boys. And that's hellish. But then after, or like I think right before the movie, Mike has to leave and throw up because he has the flu. And like everyone at school is sick with it. And then Jacob drops like Mike off and then drops Bella off. But when he drops Bella off, like he has a fever and she's like, oh shit, like you're sick. And he's like, oh, don't worry. I'll get home fine. And then Bella gets the flu. So she's sick for a couple of days. And when she calls to check on Jacob, his dad, Billy, says, oh, he has mono. Like he's really sick. And she keeps calling. And it's getting weirder and weirder because Billy just keeps saying he's too sick to come to the phone. And she's like, I haven't heard from him. Like, what is going on? And then she's thinking about all of the weird stuff Jacob said about Sam Yulee and his gang. And she's also just like, Jacob is kind of her support person. Yeah. She's been really relying on him. And also they are friends. And she's recently been abandoned by people she thought were her friends or thought cared about her. So after another week, she calls again and Billy is like, oh, Jacob is out with his friends. And she's like, oh, cool. So he hasn't called me and he's just like ditched me. So she decides to go and find this meadow on her own. Yeah. She's like, fuck this, fuck everyone. And I get where she's coming from. Whatever. And she finds it. And as soon as she does, she is so glad that Jacob isn't there because she is just immediately so hopeless with grief. Yeah. Like it is, she's like, I don't know what I thought it would feel like. I don't know what I thought I would find, but it's just like so raw all over again. And she's so happy she's there alone. Or she thought she was alone. But somehow Laurent is there. And Laurent is one of the vampires from the titular baseball scene from the last book. And at first she's just like, this is proof. Like vampires are real. Like I'm not crazy. She's like, Laurent. And he's like, hey girl, I didn't know we were like that. He tells her, he's like, yes, we are real. Hello. And she's like, what are you doing here? And he's like, well, you know that bitch Victoria, she is after you. Since your Edward killed her partner. Is
Victoria the redhead?
Yeah. And Bella's like, oh, fuck. I had no idea. And then Laurent is like, but don't be pressed. Good news is I'm going to kill you way nicer than she would. And Bella's like, oh. And he's like, I promise. Like, she would rip you apart, torturous. But he's like, bitch, you smell good. Like, it's true. Yeah. Like, I am so sorry. And that is time for our next ad break. Okay.
I want to smell what Bella smells like to these.
Yeah.
It's like I want to know what it is.
I imagine, too, that part of it has to be because you don't eat anything else, that it's just like whatever it is, it's the only thing you want, right? Like just like it's all you're craving. So I feel like for me, it probably wouldn't be a specific food, but it would be like a food that when I want it, I'm like, I gotta have it. Like that has gotta be the thing. Like I feel like I could pretty much always go for a cheeseburger. Especially if I'm hungry. Like, I'm just like, yeah, cheeseburger would go down of all things. But I'm imagining it just smells like whatever you really want in that moment. But I don't know. I would not be interested in being a vampire simply because you have to give up eating. Yeah. I love eating.
I love eating so much.
And, like, it's so... Being a vampire, this could not be my story in my book where I get everything I want because I love eating. For Bella, she loves sunshine. For me, the enjoyment, because like, even though they like survive and sustain themselves without killing people, they don't like eating animals. You know what I mean? It's not like good. I can't live like that.
Because I'm very photosynthesis. So I was enjoying time in the sun the other day. And then I came back in from the sun. I ate the Hawaiian leftovers that we had.
Oh, yeah.
Standing up next to my sink. Yeah. And then I went back outside and got more sunshine. It's the only way. I shouldn't have to fucking work.
No.
That should be how we're living.
we should all, like, I only ever want to work in service to, like, my fellow humans so that we can all feel those great moments as much as possible. Like, I'll make food for you sometimes. You'll fix my car so I can drive to a pretty place. Like, we'll all, like, it's just trading. Like, we're just out here. We're all contributing. But Bella, it's part 3. It's March. Bella is alone in this meadow with Laurent, who's like, I am going to kill you, but, like, again, don't worry. And she's like, honestly, she's like, I mean, I'm not big worried. Like, whatever, I guess. This isn't, she's obviously, like, anxious about it, but she's like, what the fuck am I going to do, run?
Yeah. It's Laurent.
Yeah, he's a vampire. She's seen vampires before.
Yeah.
But immediately, these, like, 5 massive wolves appear to chase Laurent away. And then Bella's just there. And she's like, big day. So she stumbles home by herself through the fucking woods. Which we love because she's really bad at being in the woods. But she does it. She gets to her car. She drives herself home. And she tells on herself. She's like, honestly, this is a moment where I'm willing to tell on myself. She's like, Charlie, I saw what you've been looking for. They're not bears. They're fucking wolves. And he's like, what the fuck? And she's like, I know. There were 5 of them and they're huge. And he's like, you were hiking? And she's like, listen, amnesty. I'm telling you they're wolves. And he's like, don't do it again. She's like, say less, King. Like, I am not. She keeps calling Jacob. He keeps not answering. And now she's like calling every half hour. She's like, what's up? He home? He awake? What's going on? And finally, she's just like, I'm going to La Push. So she drives to his house and she finds him and he's just like, I can't hang out with you anymore. And she's like, Sam Yulee got to you. And he's like, Bella, it's complicated. And like, once again, and this is especially poignant because this whole time, like, Bella has not been able to talk about what happened with Edward. And Jacob would sometimes like bring it up or like whatever. And she'd be like kind of shut down and he'd be like, you really can't talk about that, huh? And she'd be like, yeah. And he's like, okay, I'm sorry. But he would just promise her like, well, I would never do that. And then he's done it.
Yeah.
He's just like, I can't spend time with you. I can't hang out with you. And I can't tell you why. And Bella is pissed. She's so over this. But that night,
she's like, fuck the Pacific Northwest and everybody being like, oh, you don't understand my morals.
Yeah. Like, how much is Bella going to have to go through? The answer is a lot. I know what it is, and it's a lot. When I say this is a book that doesn't hate its heroine or punish her, I mean it. Like, I don't think that Stephenie Meyer hates Bella, but I do think that, like, being a woman is hard and it's traumatic. And so sometimes when we try to tell stories that are centered around women, it's a real balancing game.
Yeah.
So that night, pretty soon after, Jacob does come. Like, he comes to Bella's room. He's like throwing rocks, whatever. He like climbs in her window. She's like, what the fuck are you doing? And he's like, don't worry, it's fine. And he's like, listen, I'm sorry. I can't tell you what's going on. And I can't tell you why I can't tell you what's going on. But it's not that I don't want to be your friend. And she's like, okay. And he's like, and I can't tell you more than that. And then he gets like frustrated. He's like, I need you to think of the Quileute legends that I told you. And she's like, okay. And he's like, you just only care about your fucking vampire or whatever. And she's like, I don't know what you want from me. And he's like, just think about it, okay? And she's like, fine. And then he leaves and she just like has a nightmare and she wakes up and she's like, he's a werewolf.
Yeah.
Because she just like obviously didn't remember that part of the story.
Honestly, he's so me in that sense because I'm like, if I can't tell, like if I have a secret, it's like, I need you to put 2 and 2 together and come up with 4 because I'm fucking tired.
Yeah. So she like goes back to La Push to see Jacob. And from her perspective, what Jacob has just revealed to her and kind of the way he's being cagey about it is she's just like, he's killing people. And so she goes to see him and be like, because he was like, I understand if you never want to see me again once you figure it out, but then you'll know, like, whatever. And she figures it out and she's like, that must be what he means. And so she goes out there and he's like, oh, you're such a fucking hypocrite because you're upset about like me, but your boyfriend or whatever. And she's like, it's different because my vampires don't kill people. And he was like, I don't kill people either. And she was like, oh, yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, then, like, what are we upset about?
Yeah, and he's like, I don't know, I thought you might think it was weird that I'm a wolf. And she's like, well, I'm not a hypocrite, so you're just a wolf?
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah. And she's like, cool. And he's like, oh, yay. But then he, like, hugs her and almost crushes her to dust because he's like, I haven't said this because I don't know, whatever, but he, like, already was, like, 6'5", but, like, I think all the wolves are, like, 7 foot tall by the end of this series.
Yeah.
They just, like, go through this massive growth spurt and they're fucking huge. So he, like, almost crushes her to dust. But then they're just, like, happy. They can be friends again. But the murderers, the whole deal is that they're vampires. So definitely this Victoria bitch, right? Like, she's out there, but we don't know exactly what's going on because there's, like, a lot of different murders. And the wolves have been patrolling to try to protect everyone. Members of the tribe don't transform unless there is a threat of vampires, which are their natural enemy. And that's part of what these legends that Stephenie Meyer wrote and appropriated explain, which is that the first wolf, and they're not werewolves, they're shapeshifters. Okay. So the first transformation happened because vampires appeared and threatened them. And one of the members of the tribe, I think one of the leaders, like, transformed into a wolf to protect everyone. And so it's like this, like, genetic passed down thing, but nobody has transformed in several generations because the Cullens and the Quileute tribe, they have a pact. And also the Cullens haven't been there the whole time, right? Like, the Cullens have to move around. They can't stay in the same place. So now there are these other vampires around that don't have a treaty. And these kids in this tribe are starting to transform, and, like, the tribe still has an understanding of why, so they're able to, like, explain it, but nobody who is alive has been a wolf before until
That's like
this.
if the draft came back,
yeah,
you're like, fuck,
so we're just doing this, huh?
Yeah.
So the boys start transforming, and what seemed like a cult was a pack. And Jacob couldn't tell Bella anything because the wolves have, like, this whole alpha thing, right? So Sam Yulee is, like, the boss, like the alpha. And when they're wolves, when they transform, they can hear each other's thoughts. So you can't hide anything from your pack.
Yeah, I hate that.
My nightmare. I hate it so much. But also it's kind of cool because you, like, have a built-in radio. Yeah. So you can, like, walk around. You can talk to each other.
You just have to be, like, really mature about things.
And you honestly, yeah, you have to accept that, like, you can't control all your thoughts. You're going to have to hear stuff. And that does, like, Stephenie Meyer really does incorporate that and in really interesting ways, the whole dynamics. Later on in the series, we're actually going to be from Jacob's perspective for a while, which is really interesting. But so they can hear each other, and Sam can give them orders that they cannot break. And so one of them would be, like, telling everybody that or telling anybody that you are this shapeshifter who can transform into a wolf. So Bella, once she guessed it, it's like, fine, well, now she knows. So she starts hanging out with the pack at La Push. And part of it is that she has information about vampires that's helpful. Like, first of all, she knows who Victoria is. She knows who Laurent was because they did kill him. And she's like, you killed a vampire? And Jacob's like, yeah, we're not, like, pussies. Yeah. And she's like, okay, listen, I have been attacked by a vampire. And he's like, what? And she's like, yeah. And he's like, what's that scar? And she's like, it's a fucking bite. And he's like, why aren't you a vampire? And she's like, because Edward won't let me be one. And he's like, oh, well, I kind of respect him for that.
Yeah.
Because I hate vampires and I don't want you to be one. And she's like, whatever. So they talk about all of that stuff. And they're having a hard time tracking Victoria and whoever else might be a vampire behind this. Bella meets Emily. We all learn about imprinting. Emily is Sam's girlfriend, Sam Yulee, leader of the pack. And she has this scar across her face from when Sam transformed in front of her. So we're going to go through this quickly. Sam was the first to turn. So he had no idea what was happening. Like, nobody had told him or any of them other than in legends. Like, nobody thought this was a real thing that could happen. So he transforms, and she happened to be near him when it happened. This, like, stereotype of Native men as violent is a very unfortunate addition to Stephenie Meyer's crimes against, like, Native American people and the Quileute tribe in specific. It's not written in a way where it is, like, intentionally negative, but it is a stereotype, and it is a negative stereotype. You know, she treats it as very sympathetic and a parallel to the danger Bella is in when she's around other vampires. But I think it's really important to draw a line that it's the native characters who are portrayed as wild or out of control. And I think the vampires are portrayed as largely like civilized, as mostly white monsters. There are canonically non-white vampires, before you tweet at me. I don't have Twitter, so you can't. But they don't appear till the last book. So I'm not going, like, it's majorly like European, Eurocentric vampire culture. The Volturi is Italian. You know, we have this like very kind of, you know, they appear in Renaissance paintings. Yeah. It's this very specific view. Relevant back to the story, Sam was dating someone else when he met Emily. He was dating her cousin Leah, but he imprinted on Emily. We don't get super into imprinting here, but like this is kind of our introduction. Sam is an awesome character. Like, I love Sam. I think he's a good leader, and he really is. Like, Charlie was right in the way that he was also right about like Dr. Cullen. Like Charlie has a lot of problems, and I will fucking roast him for all of them. But he is like the kind of guy who's like, well, I don't know why everyone's shitty about Dr. Cullen. He's a great doctor. He was. And he's like, I don't know what anyone's saying about Sam Yulee. He's a great guy who is doing great work. And like, he totally is. He wants like the best for everyone, and not just the pack, but like everyone in La Push. He takes what's happening really seriously. He's super fair. And he also doesn't exercise his ability to like control the pack lightly. He doesn't just give orders to give orders. And he also goes out of his way to make sure that Bella has autonomy while she's there, unlike most of the characters in this series. So I love him for that. Everyone, including my nemesis, Mike Newton, at some point in this book acts like Bella is cruel for being Jacob's friend while he has a crush on her. I think this is bullshit, and I will continue to think it's bullshit. Bella is very clear with Jacob. She rejects his advances anytime he insinuates there might be something romantic between them, and she outright is like, you're my best friend. Yeah. I love spending time with you. Most of the women I know, or people who have grown up being socialized as women, they've had at least one experience of losing a male friend because they realize he was never actually their friend. Yeah. It's happened to me.
It's happened to me too many times. And it's a shitty feeling.
I know that if it hasn't happened to you, you might be listening and think, what do you mean he was never your friend? If someone is waiting in the wings for you to realize like what a nice guy they are and see how great they are, they aren't seeing you. Yeah. They aren't valuing your friendship and your autonomy. And unfortunately, that is going to be a through line that we are going to have to hold along with Bella and Jacob's friendship.
I have like mixed feelings on everything because I do think that we're also talking about all of these characters are allegedly teenagers. Yeah. So, like, it gets complicated there, but it sucks when you want to be friends with somebody and they're just waiting for it to be more. Yeah. It also sucks when you're that kid and you're like, oh, yeah, it's going to be something more. And, like, you can feel like they're leading you on. One of the things that I also, like, it happened with the retelling of that one classic that you did, Longborn.
Oh, yeah.
Where, like, I do kind of sometimes feel, well, I don't need to pussyfoot around it. I feel weird sometimes where, like, the white female main character, it's like her best friend is, like, a boy who's a person of color. Yeah. And, like, but they don't get the girl. And I feel like that happens a lot in books written, not a lot. Yeah. But, like, I've seen it more in books written by white women. And I'm like, I don't like the fact that it's a non-white person who's getting, I don't want to say friend zoned because that's, like, not a thing.
No, yeah.
But, like, they don't get to be the romantic lead.
I think in general,
the friend.
Yeah.
But they're there, but they're great characters where they're truly there for this person.
Yeah.
And that was in Longborn too, of the I forget like the characters' names.
The Bingley, the footman.
Yes.
I think the interesting part of that story is that I do think, because I know what you're saying and I think it's valid. In that story, they were both romantic interests, right? This was a time where you couldn't really have male friends.
Yeah.
You know, it had to be complicated. I think they were both romantic interests. And I do think from that perspective, it's also compelling. In Longborn, it's like, I think, very directly socially commentable because it is like race is an issue. This is a book set in like this very specific time period in history.
Class was I just remember thinking of that in Longborn and relating it to Twilight.
Yeah.
Because that was the other instance I'd seen of that. But I was like, oh man, like that's got to feel weird.
It's another...
As a non-white person engaging with this media, that's got to feel weird to them to be like the friend.
And it's another stereotype, right? Because the characters, there is extreme tokenization of all of the native characters in the Twilight series. And all of the characters later who are also like the non-white vampires, these other characters that come into the fold. Our main cast of characters is predominantly white, despite Jacob Black, who is not played by a native actor also in the movies. There are a lot of the native characters are played by native actors. That's not like a thing you deserve a prize for.
Yeah.
But it is, I think, a really relevant point to make. And I feel like that point leads into why it's so important that there are stories that just aren't also only focused on white characters in general. Like, it's not just that the person of color never gets the girl. It's that even in that story, there's still a side character.
Yeah.
You know, even in that context. And I do think you're right that if always your characters who don't get the happy ending or do lose out don't get the girl, then that should be something we reflect on. Unfortunately, in Twilight, that's not exactly how it turns out, and he does get the girl. It's just the worst.
Yeah, it's a whole other issue. But yeah, that's just something that I, since we've been looking back into the Twilight series, have been like grappling with, because also like as white people who are also like, we're both white women writers.
Yeah.
Like, how do you write that correctly? How do you avoid doing what Stephenie Meyer has done?
I think
some of it's don't touch what, you know,
I mean, I think
practices.
Yeah, I mean, don't just take from cultural traditions or legends and rewrite them.
Yeah.
I think that's probably huge. I mean,
when you make $1 kajillion off of a fucking series, we're still talking about 20-something years later. Fucking pay some money.
Yeah, I think the thing is, too, is that, like, you can... I think righting wrongs, a lot of time it's like, well, this doesn't erase what you did. It's like, of course it doesn't. But that doesn't mean that you can't make efforts to try yourself to understand and to try to somewhat atone for this mistake you made. Like, I think Rick Riordan's a really good example of an author who's good at saying like, oh yeah, I did use like incorrect or inappropriate terminology in that book. That's something I don't want to do in the future.
Yeah.
That sometimes that's all you need to do. I'm not saying that's all Stephenie Meyer needs to do, but I am saying like, you can address things that you have done and move on. That's kind of like the deal is you can't heal and move on until you have addressed and been honest about these places where you were in the wrong.
Yeah.
And I think your point about how, you know, the best friend being a person of color doesn't get the girl. They're still just this side character in this like white centric story.
Yeah.
And it's not good enough. And if you're just including these characters as tokens, like if you're ever writing and you're trying to like create you're like, I need to have some characters who aren't white. I think you need to rethink the way you're approaching it.
Yeah.
You need to think about like who your characters are and like who you're writing for and what more you should be telling in the story. And I think this is something also men struggle with when they write women. It's just like, there are things you probably shouldn't touch. That doesn't mean you can't write stories that have non-white characters in them.
Yeah.
But you just need to be more nuanced with your overall stories about people.
Ian's always writing about women.
Mm-hmm.
But he's writing about people.
Yes.
But when it comes to like specific like woman-centric things,
Mm-hmm.
he does have to ask us, because he's like, what is a girl shirt called?
Yeah. I mean, I think part of it is anytime someone writes...
Have friends.
Yeah,
We've
that's
talked about
exactly
that
what we've talked.
friends.
Have friends.
Yeah.
Literally have friends. Do not surround yourself with yes men. Surround yourself with fucking people who will call you out if you're doing stuff that's shitty.
Don't be these fucking dick riders. I was talking to Brooke off.
Like, we hate dick riders in this house.
Oh my gosh, I've been on a tear about that lately. Anyways, this episode's going to be long. I'm so sorry, Brooke.
Do you want to explain what a dick rider is?
Okay. Every fucking politician right now is a fucking dick rider.
Yeah.
And it's killing me because it's just these yes men, and you can tell that they don't always even agree with them.
No.
But they're going to rip their shirts open and stand up for them like they're getting paid for it, because they are.
Yeah.
But it's just so, it's like we were talking about it, a lot of powerful men. I won't even say all men.
Mm-hmm.
Not all of y'all are like this. Hashtag not all men.
Yeah.
But
also, hashtag not all of y'all are getting paid for it. There's plenty of poor men out there dick riding like it's their fucking
dick riding
job.
for free, which is embarrassing.
It is.
But like with women, I'll be like, yeah, I'll support a woman no matter what. And then she does something and I'm like, never mind, bitch.
Yeah.
One of my favorite tweets, I don't support all women. Some of y'all bitches are dumb.
Yeah.
But like, I support you, but I'm not going to ride for you. But like a lot of these powerful, not just men either, some of these women will ride for these powerful men so hard. Well,
here's where the difference is. I am not supporting Stephenie Meyer as a woman if I excuse bad behavior.
Yeah.
Like, you don't, actually supporting someone is calling them out when and I don't think, like, Stephenie Meyer and I are friends. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that, like, we have to hold each other accountable if we are going to make a better world.
Yeah.
Like, if you genuinely care about making things better or believe in creating a world in which Twilight isn't the best teenage girls have, and we instead try to give all kids better access to, like, good media that they can feel seen by, we have to critique the things that we don't think are good enough.
Yeah.
And dick riding is just about being like, hell yeah, that's so great. Whatever you say, bestie. And it is a thing that men do because it keeps them in power.
Yeah.
It is about keeping the status quo.
Yeah.
And I'm so not interested in keeping the status quo. I can't even say it enough.
I have before. And there's some instances where, of course, like living in capitalism, I've bent for some stuff, but it's just to wholeheartedly stand for someone.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you also realize they're probably, because the dick riding, whoever is the most powerful is not dick riding for those underneath them.
100%.
You only ride up.
Well, it's like everybody wants a daddy, everybody wants a king. Everybody's dick riding for someone to continue to be in charge of them so that when shit goes fully feudal, you're just a noble in the court. But if you're a noble in the court, you are still an expendable. No, the person you are riding for doesn't care about you.
Yeah.
And that is the bottom line, and that is the thing, is that, like, you become a person who's willing to throw everybody else under the bus so that you can stay in the good graces of someone who does not give one shit about you. Because the thing about, like, real friendship and real loyalty in a friendship is that my loyalty to you as a friend is that if you do something, like, I'm going to tell you. Mm-hmm. Like, because you would want me to, because that's what a true friendship is. We talk about it at work a lot because I'm always unpacking my customer service job trauma because I work in a great place now that's healthy. And my boss is also a friend of mine that I used to work with at other, like, restaurant work. And he's like, the thing is, I'm always going to support you guys as my employees. So even if you're wrong, like to a customer, I'm going to support you. And then that customer is going to leave and I'm going to be like, you were wrong. But I'm not going to tear you down in front of a customer. I'm not going to dress you down to make myself look better because I value you and I value the work you do.
Yeah, because there's a difference between respect and dick riding.
100%.
Yeah.
So that's dick riding. And dick riding is something that's real. And something that isn't real is the friend zone. And I do want to address the fact that, like, Jacob is a teenager. These are teenagers. And also, it's possible and healthy for a friendship to develop into something romantic.
Yeah.
You can also, in a healthy way, develop romantic feelings, find out the other person doesn't feel the same way, and the friendship can recover.
Yeah.
In order for that to happen, you have to accept your friend's feelings and their autonomy, and you need to have your self-worth and your feelings in this friendship not be based on those reciprocal feelings existing. At no point does Jacob ever accept that Bella just doesn't feel that way for them.
Yeah.
What he does is he bides his time. And why shouldn't he? Everyone around them is acting like that is what's appropriate. Just wait around. It's Bella's job to either date you or let you go. The not even implication, the outright statement of this book is, well, I wouldn't say the outright statement of this book. The outright statement of characters to Bella in this book is that you are stringing him along by being his friend. I think that is unacceptable.
Yeah.
That is an unacceptable amount of pressure to put on someone who is in a friendship with someone who has feelings. As the person with feelings that aren't reciprocated, it is your fucking job as a friend to do the work to figure out how to deal with that.
Yes.
I think that this is the most toxic dynamic in this entire series, and it's not going to get to its darkest points in this book.
Yeah.
We are going to get there in the next two books, and it is very damaging and I think very painful. But anyway, werewolves. So the wolves find a fresh trail to Victoria, and as they're doing that, Bella is like, I'm going to jump off a cliff. Literally. I mean, I get it. I'm in love with her too. So she's like, she's not trying to kill herself per se, but she's certainly not in like the best of headspaces.
It's like that year I quit wearing a seatbelt. Because
yes,
I was
girl.
like, let's just see what happens.
And you know what it also is? Fucking look me in the eyes and tell me that you really love someone if you think the right time to try and be in a relationship with them is when they're fucking jumping off of cliffs and trying to like recklessly ride motorcycles all over the place.
Yeah.
No. Again, he's 15, so we're excusing that part of it. It's going to get worse.
He's 15?
Jacob is
18?
16 now, I think. 16 or 17. Like, time is passing. When the series starts, he's 15.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. He's a couple years younger than her. So Bella does nearly drown, but Jacob does get to her in time. And she feels rightfully really stupid for jumping. And she also feels bad because Charlie's fishing buddy, Harry Clearwater, is in the hospital for a heart attack. So the reason everyone came back from looking for Victoria is that Harry, who is from the Quileute tribe and lives in La Push, has had a heart attack. And everyone is at the hospital and like being there to support his wife, Sue. And so Bella's like, I'm a dickhole. Like,
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. And Jacob is like, it's fine. Why did you do that? And she's like, I don't know. You said you would take me. And he's like, so you just jumped off a cliff? And she's like, yeah. Let's not get into it. So as they kind of go back to Charlie's house, and Jacob, I think, is like sleeping or something because he's always sleeping because he's always out all night running with the wolves. And Bella does like think, she's like, what would my life be like if I could just be with Jacob?
Yeah.
Like if this is, I think, one of the most depressing. There is nothing more relatable or depressing than this line of thinking. What if I could just be with him? What if I could just be happy with him? Like, I love him. Mm-hmm. I do. Like, I love spending time with him. Here's a direct quote. Would it be so wrong to try and make Jacob happy? Even if the love I felt for him was no more than a weak echo of what I was capable of. Even if my heart was far away, wandering and grieving for my fickle Romeo, would it be so very wrong? It's heartbreaking to me.
Yeah.
That this is what is being communicated to her and what I think was very much communicated to me as a young person. But then Bella sees a car in the driveway and it's Alice. So Alice and Bella are super fucking happy to see each other. Jacob is immediately like, I have to go. But Alice is being really distant, and Bella realizes Alice saw her jump off a cliff. And Alice didn't expect to come back and find her alive. They realize Alice can't see the werewolves. So she didn't see Bella get pulled out by Jacob. She just saw Bella jump. And Alice hasn't been like looking for Bella. She was like, I haven't been like keeping tabs on you. It's just I already like if she's already met you, she's like attuned to you. And like the vampires are the easiest for her to see. And it's pretty easy for her to see humans. And if she's already met you, she's got like your frequency. And so she's like, I just saw it. I didn't mean to see it. I just saw it. Why were you jumping off a cliff? And Bella's like, don't worry about it. It's just I was cliff diving. And Alice is like, what do you mean? And she's like, let's not focus on that right now. It's so good that you're here. And Alice is like, you're not doing well. You look like dog shit. And Bella's like, yeah, of course I look like dog shit. And Alice is like, I told Edward this would happen. And Bella's like, what do you want? Yeah, I'm having a terrible time.
Yeah.
But Alice and Bella really are friends. Like they really do care for each other. So Bella's like, will you please stay for a while? And Alice is like, yeah, I'll stay with you, girl. Like, I want to know what's going on. Luckily, Charlie loves Alice. So as soon as he's like, Edward's not here, is he? And Alice is like, no, just me. He's like, oh, so glad you're here. This will be great because Harry passes away, his friend, Harry Clearwater. And so he's like, I'm so glad that you can be here for Bella while I can't because, she's really not been doing well. It's while Alice is staying with her that Bella has this realization. And I don't know if this doesn't justify the codependent, near suicidal tone of this book overall.
Yeah.
But I think that this is what sets the Twilight Saga apart from other similar sort of teen romance series. This is what makes Bella feel different as a character and more solid to me. This line that I am about to read, that I think I have in here, encompasses what the loss of a relationship, it encompasses why the loss of a relationship, I think, causes so much grief and why it's so important to grieve it. Bella is listening to Alice and Charlie talk while she's pretending to be asleep. And I'm actually going to throw to commercial really quick because I have a little script for you and me to read.
Oh, hell yeah.
So when we come back, Bridgett and I are going to do a little scene for you, and I'm going to reveal why I think it's a little bit deeper than it seems. I am also going to piss. Welcome back. So, like I said, this scene is where I really think Stephenie Meyer manages to help us understand that Bella wants things other than a man. So, Bridgett, I'm going to read Charlie's line, and then I'll have you read Bella's inner monologue response. Charlie has just expressed to Alice, like they think Bella's asleep and Charlie and Alice are talking in the kitchen. And he's just expressed to Alice that he hopes Bella and Jacob's relationship might become romantic, which is weird for him to care about, I know. And when Alice doesn't like bristle or bring Edward up, he kind of goes on explaining how he feels. Okay, so I guess that's overstating things. I don't know. Even with Jacob, now and then, I see something in her eyes. And I wonder if I've grasped how much pain she's really in. It's not normal, Alice, and it frightens me. It's not normal at all. It's not like someone left her. It's like someone died.
It was like someone had died, like I had died, because it had been more than just losing the truest of true loves, as if that weren't enough to kill anyone. It was also losing a whole future, a whole family, the whole life that I'd chosen.
She wants to be a vampire.
Yeah.
Like in any loss of any relationship, and Bridgett and I know this, we've dated a lot of dog shit men. What you really grieve at the end of it is the person you thought they could be, the people you thought you could be together, and the future you'd really imagined having.
The person you thought they would become because you're wanting to change them.
But for Bella, the grief is the self-change she really wanted. She really was like, it is definitely Edward. It is definitely this love story, but it is also so much, it's Alice. It's their whole family. And there is something that Bella just really, like, of all of them, she's like, I'm the only bitch who wants to be a vampire.
Yeah.
And y'all will not let me have it. Like, I love everything about being, I want that. And she doesn't realize it until this part of the book, but she really does. She really realized it. She's like, it was this whole life I envisioned for myself. And she has like outright the realization that like, I am grieving that. This is so hard because he took with him everything I thought my life was going to be. So Jacob finally comes back by. So Alice like leaves for a minute. The werewolves and vampires like smell disgusting to each other. So they always know when the other one's about to be there. Jacob and Bella have a fight, and he tells her that he will be her friend no matter who she loves. And then he tries to make a move on her. Awesome.
Yeah.
When I read this book now, I am annoyed with Jacob, but I'm not yet angry with him. He is 16. He's trying and failing to navigate these very complex emotions. I am angry with Charlie and Billy and all of these men in his life setting a bad example.
Yeah.
I think if his mentors and his friends were just like, dude, she wants to be your friend. And if that's not good enough for you, that's a you problem, then this story would be really different. Because Jacob would have like the support that he needs to grow up and understand that his emotions aren't the reality of the world, right? It's how he feels. And that's not the most important thing. But when you're a teenager, it feels really important. It feels huge. They're really big feelings. It's the hardest part to read now. It's so true to life. And I think that we all deserve better. And it is just another piece of the emotional burden we put on girls and women. It is your job to deal with this man's feelings. He can't.
Yeah.
And we're not going to teach him to. Anyway, Team Jacob stands will tell you that this book is about Bella realizing her feelings for Jacob. I don't agree. We'll talk more about this in Eclipse, but gaslighting a woman into thinking she's not allowed to love and care about you unless it's romantic is coercion. Mm-hmm. And it's pretty relatable coercion that I've seen and experienced. Whether or not Bella would have developed romantic feelings for Jacob is a moot point. We don't get to see that. Bella doesn't get to recover from the breakup from Edward and then like slowly untangle her feelings without pressure. We only see how she feels while she is under immense pressure and still deep in the grief of her past relationship. She is emotionally unstable, and despite what the romance books and patriarchy tell you, the antidote to grief and heartbreak is not some nice guy waiting in the wings for you to notice him, senpai.
Yeah.
Anyway, while this moment is happening where Jacob like is about to kiss Bella and she's literally panicking. She's in her head like, I haven't had enough time to decide whether or not I can do this. And in her head, she's like, if I promise something I can't give, I'm the bad guy. I can't change my mind. I have to know right now. It's a nightmare. The phone rings. Jacob picks it up and he gets all stony and he's like, Charlie isn't home. He's at the funeral. Alice rushes back in and everything has gone to shit. It's Edward on the phone, and now he thinks Bella is dead, and Alice has seen what he's planning to do. What he planned to do last spring when he thought Bella was lost. And now we are going to go to the Patreon-only section of the episode to talk about kind of the batshit crazy into this book, which is like an action movie and a total blast. But stick around because we'll have Bridgett's reaction to New Moon afterwards. And then soon we will talk about Eclipse and we'll continue to cover the Twilight saga. So Edward, at this point, has already thrown his phone in the trash. Which is actually, it's kind of sweet, except for the whole suicide pact thing. Edward and Bella are so perfect for each other. They're both so fucking dramatic. Bella in her head is like, I want to become a vampire, but not like that. That bitch is crazy. And this is obviously crazy. Like, my mom will kick my ass. Bridgett, how do you feel about New Moon?
New Moon is, like this whole series, very complicated.
Yeah.
I remember loving it as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely weird to look at things. Vision's retrospect is always so different.
Something that fascinates me, and I think would fascinate anybody who read these books as an adult, is that this was marketed as a love triangle.
That's the thing is, I remember I saw a meme the other day, and they were asking Robert Pattinson, Team Edward or Team Jacob, and he's like, Team Jacob doesn't exist. It's a marketing tactic.
100%.
Because she's not ever into Jacob.
There are people, if any of you fucking Team Jacob girlies, let me know if you've read the book in a while. I think you would be hard pressed to, without just pulling a single line from this book, tell me that there is a healthy Team Jacob path. The reality is, I am Team Bella. I'm Team whatever she wants.
Yeah.
And what Bella wants is to have Jacob in her life. There's a line in this book that is her being like, or I don't know if it's this book or the one before it, but she's like, I wish Jacob was my brother so that I would be like allowed to be around him.
Yeah.
That is so painfully relatable. She later is like, if he was my brother, I would have some claim to him that I was allowed to have.
I remember a friend in middle school saying it this way, and I think that's very true. Team Edward for Bella, Team Jacob for me.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, that's what she said. She's like, I'm Team Jacob in the sense for me.
Yeah.
Which that's mainly going off of like, it was before, too, that the movies came out. So we didn't know who Team Jacob was, but just like the description of him and stuff,
yeah,
how he looked and all that, she was like, no, Team Jacob for me.
I mean, and honestly, just take all of it outside of it. If I'm going to have a supernatural boyfriend, I'm probably going to go werewolf. Like, if I have the choice.
Vampire.
But I mean, like, you can't choose love. You know, love can just happen to you. Yeah. I do think it's written in a way where it's just sort of like, the Team Jacob and Edward thing is definitely, it's exactly like Robert Pattinson said, our queen said, which is like, this is a marketing ploy. They did this with the Harry Potter books too, author unknown, where they made the fourth book, Goblet of Fire, all about romance. Mm-hmm. Like originally, Durmstrang and Beauxbaton were not all girls and all boys schools. They were co-ed schools in the books. But they were like, no, this is going to be our book about kissing. Yeah. And it's just like, or our movie about kissing. And it's weird. Like, it's weird. You realize that all of the substance that was there is just kind of divorced from the text. And it's just a book about being a horny 13-year-old or a movie about being a horny 13-year-old, which would be fine if that's what it was actually about. But it's not. So you're just like trying to sell sex to kids in this weird way that is also just so playing on the most unhealthy things, which is like a love triangle. Yeah. The idea that like it's really cool to be in a situation where you are emotionally unstable and being begged to make a choice and like, ew.
How cool would it have just been if Jacob was just interested in being her friend too, or if they were cousins?
Like literally. And the thing that's interesting to me about that is that in the next book, the real heartbreak for me when I was reading it this time, when we talk about eclipse, I'll give you a little taste of it, is that I couldn't read it without thinking, I wonder what happened to Stephenie Meyer. What relationship is she trying to repair or reflect on with the way that the Jacob through line goes? In a series where Bella gets everything she wants, the only way Stephenie Meyer could imagine that happening was Jacob ending up with her daughter. That is the greatest testament to what the patriarchy does to women that I think I've ever heard. Like, it's so fucking sad. There was no world in which Jacob could just get the fuck over it and be her friend. In a world where anything could happen. So Bella could get whatever she wants. This isn't the only instance of it. There are several instances, and this is one of them, where the path that Stephenie Meyer can imagine is so devastating to me. It is so devastating to me that the wish fulfillment has to go that far for Bella to be allowed to have her best friend. Yeah. It's so sad. And like, it's real. It's not real because like your best friend won't demand that of you. Someone who's actually your friend won't demand that of you. But it does get very complicated when there is a narrative saying that that's what they should be doing, that the right thing to do is to wait around for the other guy to mess up so you can swoop in while your alleged friend is emotionally vulnerable and unstable and show her what a nice guy you are.
That's definitely talking about like we are victims of the society we're in. Mm-hmm. That narrative was pushed on young men so heavily, and it has ruined everything.
It is so fascinating too, because incel culture now, we were talking about this the other day off mic in one of our group chats, but the idea that in incel culture, they'll just post a picture of a normal looking couple and they'll be like, what the fuck is he doing to get her? And everyone's just like, have you thought that he's nice to her?
Yeah.
Have you thought that they like have things in common or like each other or met doing something that they were both interested in? There is this real feeling, and it's fascinating because I have empathy for it, but it's just like men are experiencing for the first time the idea that your personality doesn't matter. And it's just like, welcome to womanhood, girl. Yeah, the idea that you're just an object or something to look at or like whatever, it sucks. It feels like shit, and it's not real.
Yeah.
In a real relationship, you can't have this connection that you are so clearly craving and think you'll never have if you think that relationships are based on looks alone.
Yeah.
Like if you think the way you look dictates whether or not you will ever fall in love or have partnership or friendship or any healthy relationship. People who like are together just because of their looks, that's a marketing ploy. Yeah. That's like, that is a thing you're being sold.
Because also like we're all aging. Your looks are changing.
Yeah.
Your body's going to look different. I know it doesn't feel that way now if you're younger. It does change.
And it's just so personal.
Yeah, and it's so fine.
Like,
it's not anything you're freaking out it is.
I think the thing that's craziest about it to me is the way that incel culture and dick riding culture goes so hand in hand, because what incel men think women want is fascinating to me. They're just like, there's no fucking way she's attracted to him. And I'm like, top crushes as a young person. Adam Sandler, Steve Buscemi, fucking Double D from Ed, Edd n Eddy. I'm like, my kings. Like, what are you? It's like, what do you think? And I know that the reason is like what they think attraction is what they've been sold. And the story that men are sold is that you are allowed to be attracted to a certain kind of woman. And you should be embarrassed by being attracted to a different kind of woman.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, as women, we're just like, well, we see that narrative on us. And I'm telling you, I will be attracted to whatever fucking kind of guy I want. Every friend that I have has told me about a crush. And I've just been like, I love that for you.
Yeah.
That is the beauty of attraction. If we're all only attracted to the same people, yeah, it certainly becomes a weird scarcity mindset.
Yeah.
It's not real.
No, not at all. Yeah, there's been tons of times my friends have been like, look at this guy. And I'm like,
tell me about his personality.
Cool.
Yeah.
But then, I get to see them together and I'm like, oh shit. Like, yeah, he's my bud. Like,
and
he's a good guy.
Isn't it amazing how when someone is a piece of shit, you're just like, they're looking real ugly today. And when someone is nice, you're like, I never noticed, like, they are so handsome or so beautiful or so whatever. Like, people's looks aren't just like in a vacuum. Yeah. I know that this is going to sound like a crazy leap, but it really all just feeds into eugenics. It does. Yeah. Like, incel culture just feeds directly into eugenics, and it feeds into this idea.
They're beating their faces with their fists.
Yeah. Well, and the plastic surgery, the looks maxing, this idea that, like, there's an ideal and you can reach it. And it's just like, it is so subjective.
Yeah.
There's no ideal. You're trying to look like whatever the top dick that everyone is writing is saying they're into. And we are so divorced from anyone even like having a real opinion anymore at that level.
Yeah.
They're just regurgitating different things to use as ways to control you. And it's just like real connection and real attraction don't work like that.
No.
But when you're young and you don't have better role models, it's really easy to fall into that.
Yeah. Ugh, we got to be better role models, y'all. My fellow 30s and up, we got to do better.
We got to just not perpetuate the shit. And we can't, not even when it feeds into your own insecurity.
Yeah.
You got to stop saying shitty things about yourself in front of your kids.
The other day, one of my friends was shit-talking her nose shape.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, well, calm down now because we have the same nose shape.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, and also on TikTok, they're saying the curvy, bumpy nose is in.
Fuck yes.
It might just be, algorithm, but I'm like, take it. But one of the things I was like, I have the same nose as you, so watch yourself.
I know it can be really hard to love yourself, but just remember every time you look in the mirror and you think, I really hate X about you or about myself, that some bastard piece of shit is the one that made you feel that way. Some racist, stupid, like no personality having piece of shit somewhere in history is perpetuating the idea that that thing you hate about yourself is a thing you should hate about yourself. And are you going to let that loser have control over you?
Right.
Fuck that. You just go ahead and start untangling it because their opinion isn't worth shit.
Yeah. Yeah. And for kids out there, if you're listening, sorry.
Yeah.
Also, it gets better.
It really does. And it is crazy because I know you don't think your brain is still developing, but it is like a light bulb has been on a dimmer switch.
Yep.
And one day, everything is going to kind of crystallize and you're going to be like, I think I like myself fine. Like, I think I'm actually pretty cool.
Yeah.
I'm really glad that when I was 16, nobody let me get all the plastic surgery I thought I wanted or the tattoos I thought I wanted. Listen.
See, I did get all the tattoos I wanted.
Yep.
Thank God I didn't get to get the plastic surgery I wanted.
Yes. Just like you are going to learn to love parts of your body that you never even thought you would think about loving. But the reality is, like, your body is the way you walk around and do the things you want to do. And it's just part of who you are.
Yeah.
Who you are is like all of these other things you're figuring out. And God, seriously, I can't stress this enough. The people running this country are losers. You can't let them tell you things about yourself.
No.
They are so insecure. They have no idea what's going on.
Alrighty.
On that note, we love you.
Mwah.
We'll see you next time.